Hello everyone, it's Lindsay and it is Sunday, which means faith planner process video. I haven't had one of these in a few weeks. I just wasn't super inspired, and so I'm kind of easing back into it using the new agenda planner from Illustrated Faith and Dayspring. This was sent to me by Dayspring, but I have a whole playlist of about a year's worth of videos from last year that I did, or in the last year, doing processes in this planner. So I do like to go ahead and pull the pages out to work on them, and as you can see, I just take some scissors and make a little cut down the center of the coils, and that way I can pull the pages out. And I will be using this stencil here. This is from Tim Holtz. If I can find somewhere that still has this, I will link it down below. These are kind of hard to find. I think I got mine from Michael's in the store, if I can't find an online resource. But I decided just to do some stenciling and some stamping, and that was it. And I don't love the outcome, but that's okay. I'm easing back into the whole process. So I'm using some Distress Oxide inks in Seedless Preserves and Faded Jeans to blend through this stencil. And these were some colors I picked to mimic the colors that are at the top of these pages. So I do use this planner for daily scripture writing, and because of that, I need to leave myself plenty of room to write. And I'm also going to try to use mediums that are easy to write over if I need to. So that's why I'm keeping it pretty simple. This spread will end up looking kind of plain in the end, but that's okay because that really is more important to have room to write out my scriptures. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of mimic that shape over on the other side of the page. I am using some washi tape just to kind of hold the stencil down in place while I blend, and I'm kind of going back and forth between the two colors to intensify the color and kind of help blend the two colors together, so you actually end up getting kind of three different shades of color here. So you get kind of a purple, that pinky purple, and then the deep blue. And using these dry, I didn't have any problem with bleed through these pages. I will show at the end of the video what the back of the page looks like. And at this point, I decided to go ahead and add a little bit more towards the top. And honestly, this stencil had a lot more white space than what I was wanting or envisioning for kind of what I wanted for these pages. But that's okay. Like I said, we're just kind of easing back into things and we'll get there. I do have a playlist on my channel called Faith Planner, and I have every video I've done over the last year with the different processes, so you can see some of my past spreads and layouts to see how those came together. And so I'm going to go ahead and create kind of this angular shape up here at the top also. And now that I'm watching this back, I realize my stencil is actually upside down, so I'm lucky I didn't get ink smudged everywhere. So I went ahead and dried that, and now I'm going to do some stamping. If I'm stamping with acrylic paints, I like to use these cling foam stamps from Tim Holtz. These are the cutout florals. These are new this year. And I've used these before and have mentioned they don't cling very well. So if you need to add maybe a little piece of adhesive or something to help them cling to your stamp block, you may need to do that. And I'm going to stamp with some Distress paint. I've never used these before. This one is in Twisted Citron, and there was this little tiny pop of this bright green at the top of the planner page, and so I'm going to kind of bring that into my spread. And I thought by stamping with acrylic paint, it would be more opaque and kind of help these stamped images pop out over the top of the stenciling that I did, but as you can see, it just looks like a hot mess. So I'm going to go in and double stamp that just to increase the opacity. These Distress paints are super liquidy, and so I don't know that I would use them again in the case where I need something really opaque. That's just not the nature of these paints, but like I said, I had never used them before, so it was new to me. And I'm just brushing that paint onto those foam stamps, and I picked two different shapes out. And I think this would have turned out better if I had just blended the ink, the Distress ink, straight onto the page instead of doing it through a stencil. This just makes it so there's like too much going on. I don't know. It's okay. It'll get the job done this week as I write out scriptures. That's all I really needed to do. So you can see this is the page that has that little pop of green in the top right hand corner. It's kind of off out of the shot at the moment, but there's just this little pop of green. So that's where I got that from. And because I dried the Distress Oxide inks first, these paints aren't really reactivating that ink too much. So it's not moving around and bleeding through or anything like that. So, and I decide it probably needs more of that green kind of sprinkled in, just to help out that clustered mess down in the corners. So I'm gonna just jump back and forth and stamp those. I have found it's kind of difficult to clean these stamps with the acrylic paint, so I kind of wipe them off with a baby wipe and usually end up having to actually clean them in my sink with some soap to get all of that acrylic paint out of the stamp. And then I go ahead and add some water to the Distress paint and splatter some more of that green on. And this just kind of helps it look not so boring and plain and brings that green into some more areas of the page. And that is pretty much it. Like I said, I kept it super simple. I can just pop these right back into my planner. I don't have any problem with these pages falling out. And I just prefer to work on them out of the planner. Just so it's not so bulky, and it's just easier to handle that way. So if you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave those down below. Check out the description box for links to all the products mentioned today, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed, and until next time, thank you so much. Bye-bye.